What are we looking at, Ryan?
My fucking pouch.
Your little
It's a good
possum
thing.
pouch.
If that's what you want to call it.
It's a good thing the viewers can't see that with the little name tag right there.
Thank God. I'm going to pull that back down.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Marsh Boys podcast. I'm your host, Brian, and I'm here with the stupid Elmer Fudd.
I was going to say I'm Farmer John, but thanks for fucking throwing cold water on that one.
And we are also joined by the man, the myth, the Brant-killing legend from
Not
Maryland.
the captain of technology.
No, not the captain of technology.
Yeah, lack in that department.
Riley Hicks from Henlopen, Waterfowl.
I don't think you're allowed to say that on air.
Say what?
Hicks.
Was there any high school jokes about your last name?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you can use your imagination, but what does my last name rhyme with?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
I bet your middle name in high school was Sucks.
You better hide from ice, dude.
No, I never got that one. So
So, how have you been?
tired, dude. It's been like I swear the last 2 years I was thinking about it. I haven't had like a break from anything. I've just been on the grind.
Yeah? Yeah, what have you been grinding recently?
Children.
Oh,
Well,
Jesus.
okay. Hopefully not. I got my one right now, and I don't want any more anytime soon. So, well, I finished captain school, and then right after that, we went on a Disney vacation, and I thought it was gonna be like nice and relaxing, but you're
Ryan's
like,
gonna fucking lose it.
what's wrong with you?
I'm good. You can continue.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So we went on a Disney vacation, and like, you really don't get to relax down there.
Hell no,
I mean,
that's
it's
a lot of
cool.
walking, isn't it?
Yeah. We were walking like 20,000 steps a day. It was kind of crazy, but
Did you drink around the world?
oh yeah, I got absolutely shit house down there. But it was pretty fun. And then came back, and I've just been working a lot, and then trying to get everything ready for the Coast Guard paperwork wise. You know, they don't really tell you in captain school that the paperwork's about like this thick that you got to send to them. But the hardest part is out of the way, so that now that that's over with, just gotta wait on my TWIC card right now, waiting for Uncle Sam to send me that back. And when I went down to TSA to get that done, she goes, "Yeah, it should be there in about 60 days." And I was like, "Oh my god, what?"
60 days?
Yeah,
That's
she
about
said it
how
could
long
take
it
up
took
to
for mine, too.
yeah, she said it could take up to 60 days. So waiting on that, and that's like one of the other biggest things you got to wait for. I mean, the rest of the paperwork's like getting a drug test and getting a physical, and then background
Fingerprints.
checks. Yeah, well, I already got that done through
The
TSA.
TSA.
Yeah,
So, well,
that's all taken care of.
let's hit pause on that real quick because we definitely want to talk about that and what entails that. But I don't think we've talked to you really since we came down and Brant hunted together.
Mhm.
How did the end of your season go from December on into January?
We had a hell of a season. I think out of all the times we went brand hunting, we only got skunked once, and that day, I mean, the conditions was horrible. We had a northwest wind, which was pushing all the water out from the inlet. So, I mean, most of the marsh was just dry. The wind that day was blowing, I'm not even joking, probably 40 to 50 miles per hour with no breaks either. Uh, and I guess it was kind of a good thing that I was taking my uncle and my cousins out because we saw no brant that day. We did shoot a black duck. I got my cousin his first black duck, so we didn't get completely skunked, but brant wise, that was the only day we got skunked. I mean, technically a second time, but I put these brant in these boys' lap, and they wanted to sit 30 yards outside of the blind and chain smoke cigarettes the entire hunt. So not my
Hell
fault.
yeah.
I gave
And
them the
wear
opportunity
Gucci?
and wear Gucci. And at one point, they took their Tim boots off in the marsh and was barefoot in the marsh with water up to their knees in the middle of January. So
Oh,
not my
Good
fault.
on them.
I gave them the opportunity to kill Brant, but they were busy doing other stuff. So
chain smoking cigarettes and cleaning their Tims?
that's right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, good on them. Good on them.
But yeah, we had a great season. I mean, it started out a little rough. Definitely that first morning we were all together, I was like, man, if this is how the season's gonna go, I'm not even going to bother going out because we had to deal with the game wardens that one day with the boys that were hunting right across from us, and
That was opening day, right? We came down.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was opening day down in Delaware. So that wasn't the best start to the season, but that day did end very good. So, and then after that, we were just laying into them.
So do you think you're going to start actually, I know you're going for the whole guiding thing, and I know you take people for free. Are you actually going to start doing the whole Jeff Coates thing and charging?
Yeah,
Virtually
yeah. I mean,
dining
that's the
is
whole
right.
reason. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole reason why I got my captain's license, or in the process of getting it. Because yeah, I could do it from land, but that only gives me a select amount of spots to do it. And
Hmm.
with having your captain's license, that opens up so many more opportunities because if we miss our opportunity to get in a spot on land, we can always just hunt out of the boat. So,
And if
you know,
something's not working in the water, you can always move.
Hmm.
exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know,
You're
and,
not
it, and
tied
it's,
down to 40 yards on a blind spot.
yeah, exactly. And I thought about just not even doing captain school because it's very intimidating. And now going through it, it was very hard. Um, but if I was not going to get my captain's license and just do it from land, I was only going to do the weekends, which, yeah, it would have been good, but that leaves you 4 or 5 weekends out of the season to really do it. And, you know, I don't know if it's really worth my time to do that. And that's why I just
Hmm.
went ahead and bit the bullet and
Yeah.
went through captain school.
Now,
So,
uh, um, like I said before, we'll definitely get into that because that's something very interesting. We've never really talked to anybody that's gone through that.
mhm.
Um, what were some highlights from this season that you'll never, maybe something you'll never forget, something like that? And what is something that you hope to see differ next year?
Um, Actually, it's probably the reason that I really went through captain school. This was towards the end of the season. I'm tired, working full time plus that on the weekends. I took father and his son out, and I felt sick that day. I think I had the runs, and I just wasn't feeling it. The weather wasn't cooperating, and just kind of was down that day, really questioning if I really wanted to do this next year. And it was like 9 o'clock, and this flock of branches came in perfect. And meanwhile, this son, 12, 13 years old, just got his hunting license, had never shot anything before. Him and his dad had been trying all season. They just kept getting skunked and skunked and skunked. And these brant come in, they both stand up, they shoot their brant, and we get them and everything. The kid is just ecstatic. I mean, he couldn't be happier. Same with the dad. And the dad looks at me, and it kind of gets me a little choked up thinking about it. He looks at me and he's literally like tearing up in his eyes, and he goes, "I can't thank you enough for this day. This is one of my favorite things, and one of these memories that'll last a lifetime." And he's tearing up, and I was like, "That's why. That's exactly why that I want to do this. Is making those memories not for me, but for other people."
Yeah,
Hmm.
And
yeah.
if it wasn't for that, I don't know if I would have gone through this whole process of wanting to guide next year.
I definitely think that's the best way to look at it.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the money is going to be nice. I guess if it does turn into something like Pit Boss, the freedom's going to be nice.
Mm-hmm.
But the way you're looking at it, I think is, that's one of the reasons you'll be successful doing it.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the people that I took out this year, it was their first time ever brant hunting. And besides my uncle and cousins, I got everybody else their brant. And those one guys, but it's not my fault. Uh, but everybody, they got their first brand, and they couldn't be happier. And that means more than to me than any amount of money. Don't get me wrong, the
Yeah.
Hmm.
money's great, but making that memory for people is just kind of why I'm doing this, honestly.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was waiting to see if you had anything.
I thought you were going to keep asking me about the season, but no. He didn't. You didn't answer the second part of that question. That's why I thought it was going to keep going. What
What do
What
I
do
have?
you think would be different next
No,
year?
no.
How
What
what would
would
you?
you like to see differ from this year to next year as far
Yeah.
as it
Okay.
could be something in your hunting styles, could be locations, could be working the birds, something like that.
I mean, well, now with having a boat, um, it's definitely gonna free up a lot of opportunities that I haven't been able to take, I guess, that I have in previous years. Most of the time, I was relying on somebody else to bring their boat, and you're fighting other crowds, or you're just walking in with that many brand decoys that that bag probably weighs 30 to 40 pounds, with especially the long lines. I got 10 pounds of weight on each end, then the decoys themselves. Trying to lug that in, it takes a toll on your body. But now with having a boat, I can pretty much go anywhere in that bay that I want to. So that's going to be different now. I mean, decoy wise, I think I have that down pretty good of how I like to set up my spread. I mean, it obviously worked what I'm doing with the decoys. I did try something new this year. I bought silhouettes, and they worked out pretty good.
Did
Um,
you buy them before or after you hunted down in Jersey with the wooden?
that was after. Um,
Oh, Riley, you there?
yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, we
Pause.
lost
Mother.
him.
What happened? You guys see me? Yellow.
Hello?
Hey, Riley, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
No, because we'd hear his camera going around.
Hello.
Hello?
Hey,
Hello.
Riley, you there?
There it
Are you?
is.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
he got a phone call.
Yeah, but my phone rang.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, go. Can you repeat that for us?
Yeah. So decoy wise, I don't think I really need to change anything. I tried out the silhouettes this year, and they worked out great. I think I'm just going to keep adding to the spread number wise, but as far as I set up my spread according to the conditions each day, I pretty much have that down pat. I really wouldn't change much with that except just adding more to it.
hmm What's the max amount of people you think you'd take on a guided trip?
I mean, legally, I can only take six, so
Legally, you can only take 6?
yeah. So I have my
Hmm.
six pack. I will hopefully have my six pack license here shortly. But legally, that's the only amount of paying passengers that I will be able to take.
Hmm.
Um, I've done hunts where you have 9 people, 10 people, and it's just too much to worry about everybody. You know, when you have more than six, I feel like you got too many people. You got to worry about one covering, making sure you can hide everybody, and it's just
hmm
too consolidated and too close together. Where I feel like it's not a safe thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I could spread them out, but a lot of the times the brand that we were shooting, we were only getting like 4, 5, 6 packs in, and it's not going to really look good if 4 or 5 people are getting their brand and another 4 or 5 people are just kind of standing there empty-handed. So I feel like
Yeah.
six is really that perfect number for me.
Is the captain school harder to take more passengers? I know you don't plan on doing that, but is
I
that a
mean,
different course or is that a more?
so you would have to get your master's license, and then on top of that, you'd have to get your boat inspected by the Coast Guard.
Every
From
year or just once?
Oh,
I think it's just once, or unless until you get a new boat. I'm not really sure what all that entails. I remember talking to Jeff about it, and I think he said he doesn't have his boat inspected, so I think he can only take 6 people still.
Yeah.
So,
hmm
from what I know, I don't know. All I know is that under my license that I'll be getting, I can only take 6 paying passengers. So,
Is your boat? Now you just got a new boat, right?
hmm
Is that the first time you ran it? Was the other night?
no, no, no. I've been breaking in the motor, so It's like a 10-hour breaking
Yep.
period, and I'm about like 7, 8 hours in.
hmm
And perfect thing is that boat can only fit 6 people, so that works out good for me.
So you're going to be taking up to 5 then?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and what I'm going to do is, if we're hunting out of the boat, I'm only going to take 3 to 4 people, and if we're hunting from land, then I'll just make 2 trips because where we hunt from and where the boat ramp is, as the crow flies, it's a mile, if
Yeah.
that.
hmm
Yeah.
Probably not even that. So I mean, we did that this year too with other people's boat. Like if we had 4, 5, 6 people, we would just make 2 trips. 2 people with the gear, and then go back for the rest of the people.
hmm
So it's not that big of a deal. It's not like we're running pretty far with the boat.
You gonna use it for fishing all summer long?
Oh yeah. We're gonna have fun on that boat this summer. I mean, I've done a lot to it. I pretty much bought that boat bare stock,
Hmm.
and then I just ran all electric to it. Put it in seats. Got to get a couple more seats for it, and then I'm gonna sea deck the whole thing because that aluminum is loud. And from what I've heard, if you put sea decking on it, it makes it a little bit quieter. So
Yeah, it muffles it. It'll stop the
mhm,
rattling.
yeah. So I'm gonna do that too. And plus, with having a baby, if he falls on that aluminum, it might not be too good. But if he falls on some foam, it probably help him out a little bit.
Yeah. What'd you do with your old boat? You sell it?
I still have it. I'm
Hmm.
probably gonna sell it here soon. Honestly, it's just too much money to have two boats. I mean, boats stand for bust out another 1,000, so I'm
Yep.
not
For
trying to
real.
bust out 2,000.
Yeah.
So we've kind of glimpsed into it over the last 15, 16 minutes. Let's dig into it. So you just recently got your captain's license. You just finished your course, what, back in February?
Yep, end of February.
How was that start to finish?
Um, it was really hard, and not that the content of it was hard. It's that there's so much that they tell you, and you have to learn in such a short amount of time. From what my instructor was saying, the biggest complaint that they have is that it's not longer. You
Hmm.
have so much
Really?
information given. Yeah, you have so much information given to you in such a short amount of time that it's hard to remember all of it. And it's 4 exams: rules of the road, navigation, plotting, and deck safety. And each of those sections is like, I want to say, 8 hours of information that you're learning in class. So it's broken up into 3 weekends, and it's supposed to be 3 weekends straight, but we got lucky because they gave us off for Valentine's Day weekend, so I got an extra weekend to study, which really helped me, and I think a lot of people other in the class too, it helped them too. um but yeah, it's just a lot of information given to you at once, and like they fly through it pretty quick, so like you might miss something, and then you're scrambling through your book like, what did he just say, what the fuck did he just say? And you have to go back and kind of highlight everything. I mean, the book they give you is like that thick, and then you have the uh, the chart that they give you that you have to plot on, and like that is hard. I really struggle with that, and probably spent the most time doing that. And the thing is, I'll never use that again in my life ever,
Yeah.
unless I
That's
want to
probably
for
one of
fun,
those. Yeah.
or it's the apocalypse. I mean,
That's what they make garments for.
That's what
yeah,
I'm saying.
exactly.
That's a really antiquated thing to have to learn how to do
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
we have Garmins and stuff like that now.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's
I
really cool to learn,
yeah, I get
but
why they do it.
Next,
there
they're
is
gonna
a
make
lot
you
of
use the sextant and cut your leg off and put a peg leg on.
yeah. There's a lot of stuff in that course where, like, for what I'm doing, I'll never use again. I
Yeah.
just won't. This is really a lot for people that are running charter boats offshore, that are in and out of ports all the time, tugboat captains. For somebody like me, I'm not going to use, I want to say, like 85, 90% of that stuff ever again. But
Yeah.
it was cool to learn, and I always have my book to refer back to it. But yeah, it's a lot of useless knowledge for me, but definitely cool to learn.
Do you ever have to do like refreshers for it to keep it up to date, or
Yeah, you
how
have
many
to.
years?
They didn't say, but I think it's like every 4 to 5 years you have to renew your captain's license. And I don't know if that's like a education type deal where you have to go back and they update the rules of the road, and here's the updated rules of the road. Here's a test on it. I'm not sure,
You
but
spend
I know
eight
you have
hours
to.
in a classroom and
Yeah,
do something
Mhm.
stupid. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, but that's not a problem for me. The hardest part, in my opinion, is over.
yeah.
So
Now it's just waiting and then doing your steps as you go.
Mhm.
yeah, I feel like that's the annoying part, is you're just waiting, and it's a lot of paperwork. And the crappy thing is like if you mess up one little thing on that paperwork, they send it back, and you got to start the process all over again.
Oh,
So what I'm doing is I'm doing it through a third party company where they take care of everything. They
All the
do that
hard
day in,
stuff.
yeah, they do it day in and day out. You just give them the information, they input it, and you pretty much are guaranteed to get it right on the first time.
hmm. What are you
So
naming the boat?
I don't know. I've thought about that. I have no
Are you gonna
idea.
name a John boat?
You have to
I don't
name
know.
it.
Is
You're a
that a normal
captain.
thing
What's
to do?
what's the name of your boat?
I don't know the SS piece of shit.
It's not written on it.
Okay, I'm not a
The
captain.
SS Alumacraft.
The FF Illumicraft. Yeah, come
know,
on. You got to
someone-
name it. You're a captain. You got to break a
Well,
wine bottle over the back. You got to do the
I
whole
throw a
9
water bottle
yards.
at mine and got 1.1 million views on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Someone told me to name it the Brant Buster, and I was like,
Ooh.
I don't know about that.
That's actually pretty good.
Buggy named his boat the Scoter Demoter.
Scooter
Scooter
Demoter,
Demoter, I like that.
Scooter
Brant
Demoter.
Buster. Yeah.
I also met a guy
Otter's
this
Pocket.
past year.
No,
who-
you can't take that from Buggy.
I met a guy this past year. He calls scoters scooters.
Oh my,
I'm shooting.
that's got to be a Maryland
scooters.
thing, right?
First time I've ever heard it.
Or a
First time
New
I've
York
ever heard
thing.
it. And he's from Delaware, so
Mm.
yeah, I'd never heard that before. But when he said
It's
that,
like
I was
you
like,
guys call them rock bass. Catch rock bass in the spring and shoot
Yeah.
scooters in the winter.
they're
Rocks
not
and
rock bass,
scooters.
they're rock fish.
It's you guys are. I can't do it. I really can't.
Do
do
they
it.
not teach you grammar in Delaware?
Oh my goodness.
You guys didn't. You guys never read the history books where George Washington, the only reason he won this country over is because he ate stripers, not rockfish.
I thought it was because he was playing Fetty Wap on his JBL
Yeah.
speaker.
That's what
across
I
the
thought
river.
too. That's what I thought too.
That's what Instagram told me.
Just in case any of our listeners ever decide to go through said course, I'm sure Jersey's is similar. You probably have to do the same workarounds and everything. What's one piece of advice you would give somebody looking to get into that?
Study.
Go to Somalia.
Study outside of school. Study every single day, every single night, because, and I like really try to be humble about this. I was the only one to pass first try.
Yeah, I
And-
remember you telling me about that.
And I think that's because a lot of people just thought they could learn the information real quick through school, not do anything during the weekday, and then come in and take their exam.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a guy who was sitting in front of me, and he was an engineer for an oil company. A lot smarter than I am, and I'm pretty dumb. So, and he didn't pass his first try. You get 3 tries. So, I know a lot of kids didn't pass their first try and even their second try. So you got to
And you
study.
get
This
3?
isn't something. Yeah, you get 3 tries, and then if you fail on your third try, you got to take the whole course over again.
Mm.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: how many of them people were somebody like you, or I mean, as in like in the outdoor space, and how many people just had cigarette boats that they were trying to cram 12 people on?
I was the only one that was gonna actively do something with their license. Well,
It's
think about
okay. It's called profiling. It's perfectly legal. We're fine.
There was one kid next to me. He was in the fire department, and he wanted to get his captain's license so he could be the captain of the fireboat over in St. Michael's. He was the only one that was like actively going to do it. A lot of people are like, I don't know what I want to do with my license. Some wanted it for bragging rights. But yeah, I guess people just like to do it for fun. I don't know.
I can have 12 prostitutes on my cigarette boat if I get this license.
My gosh.
Have you noticed Ryan's gotten a lot bolder since we started recording this live?
I've noticed.
Yeah. Not live, but
I'm just pushing the envelope today.
I'm just
like
telling you, I am not editing these videos.
That's fine.
I like
All
it.
right.
I don't
Keep it
have a
going.
cigarette boat or prostitute.
Keep it in.
Yet.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, Amber's mom's gonna listen to this and chew you a new one.
It was a joke.
Stop defending it so hard then.
Kind of like the word retarded.
Yeah, all right. There we go. We just got canceled. I guarantee you we get a YouTube strike for that.
No, you're allowed to say it now.
Oh, okay, we're good. Anyway, so now what's the next step for Henlopen Guide Service after this?
Well, like I said, it's kind of a waiting game right now. In the meantime, kind of just taking a break right now. Like I've been so busy since September. I mean, I was living at our old house by myself because we were in the process of moving, also in the process of putting in the finishing renovations. Literally sleeping on an air mattress in our old house because we had moved everything out. And we sold our house, and then immediately after that, got thrown into hunting season, was busy with that. Immediately after that, got thrown into captain school for a month. And I mean, this has been the first time I've really been able to like spend time with my family. So I've just been chilling the last month, but I know come summertime when it starts getting warm out, I'm gonna start fishing again. And when we get our official dates for next season, that's when I'll start, okay, guys, it's time to start booking. And I'm going to have to get a website because doing this stuff through Instagram and DMs is not organized and it's not efficient. The
Yeah.
other day, I was just looking through my messages, and like half of them weren't showing up from all the people that are like, "Hey man, I want to book with you next year," and I started having a panic attack. Thankfully, it just glitched out real quick, and that's when I was like, "Yeah, I got to get a website so this is all documented, and I can always refer back to it."
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes it easier, so I can just look on my phone or look on my computer. Okay, I got this many people tomorrow. Blah 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 blah, whatever, and I can give them all the information right then and there instead of texting it out every single time. You need this, you need that, bring this, bring that. We're meeting here. Just here's the location. Here's what you need license wise. Bring your gun, bring your waiters. Blah blah, whatever else.
Got anything else on that?
I was gonna say I didn't know Jeff guided fishing in the summertime. Is that something you think you might do too?
No, absolutely not.
No,
No,
no way.
I suck at fishing, and I will.
You don't
never,
have to be the
ever-
one that's good at it. They do.
You know, you
You
gotta
just
put them
gotta
on
have
fish.
no. You just gotta have the boat and the Garmin.
Let me tell you something. If I were to do that in the summertime, Amanda would kill me. I'm already gone from September to the end of January. If I start doing that in the summertime, she'll kill me. So, and I have no desire to do it. I don't want to do it. I just like doing it for fun.
You got the boat
that's
and the
it.
license
and the Garmin.
and the Garmin.
Nope, I'm good. I am good.
Dude, $200 a day, dude. You could quit your job.
Nope, I'm good. I have no desire to do it at all.
Yeah, I can't say I blame you at all, honestly.
And I hate being out in the sun. So,
Yeah, me too.
me and the sun do not get along at all.
Nope.
That's what they make sunscreen for.
Yeah, but who puts that on?
I
be
do.
honest. No, when?
After I got that sun poisoning
Twice.
and twice, yes.
Let
Second
me tell
time
you
I learned
something.
my lesson.
I put sunscreen on religiously, and I still got skin cancer. So that tells you something about that. Like I said, me and the sun do not get along at all.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, and I think it's I don't like the sun. Well, the sun doesn't like me. But yeah.
You fair-skinned scallywags.
So let's get into something back into the whole Brant deal. Maryland, I believe it was Maryland, came out with their proposed season dates, and we're going to see another 30-day one-bird season, right?
Yeah. So Virginia was I think the first people to come out with them, and I figured once Virginia did, everybody else would follow suit, and
Yeah.
Maryland did, then Delaware did. I don't know if you guys have gotten yours yet, but that's what
I
it's
haven't
looking like.
looked.
Unless something's changed, but it's looking like that again. 30-day season.
They wouldn't differ from that. Maybe like a little bit longer of a season if they were going to change something, right? But it's still going to be one bird.
Well, I mean, from everything we heard last year, we thought it was going to go back to a 30-day two-bird.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I know all three of us had talked about it on a prior podcast about, thinking the season was going to be closed, but after the breeding population came out, I see why they stuck to one bird, and I'm glad they did, but I wouldn't have been surprised at all if I saw a two-bird 30-day season.
And I'm fine with that. I'm fine if it stays at 1, too, as long as we have a season.
Yeah, yeah.
Did I ask you
But-
last time, did they get smacked by the avian flu?
I never
Or
heard
no?
anything.
No? I
No,
didn't know if
they-
you were
they-
staying on top of that kind of shit.
I didn't hear anything, and Brant, they like to chill by themselves. They don't really intermingle with anybody else. Not saying that they haven't never been affected by it. I'm sure they have, but from what I've seen personally, I mean, they won't even really get near Bufflehead. So
Yeah, I mean, even 3 years ago now was the first time I think in the last generation that maybe not generation, last decade we saw a big influx of avian flu. Brant weren't affected then either.
I think this was the worst one when I saw that.
No, the last time we had it was way worse.
Hmm.
I mean, this was bad. I mean, none of it's good. And unfortunately, from everything I've seen, it's always there. It's just now we're seeing it.
It's like if a new strain breaks out, though, it'll like run through.
It's not a
everybody.
new strain. It's the same thing. It's like I said, it's just now we're paying attention to it. Now we're really seeing it with social media, with cameras, everything like that.
The dead seagull that was next to me when I was on that guided hunt in Maryland
Yeah.
just clapped on the ice.
Yeah.
No explanation, no animals around it. It just decided to sit on that ice and die, I guess.
So, what was your thoughts on the Brant population? I mean, you hunt Brant more than anybody I know. You're out there almost every day.
Yeah, so what I noticed this year was, and I think the cold weather helped us a lot. We definitely got a lot better migration this year, at least Brant wise. I mean, I didn't really pay attention to everything else because I don't really care about everything else, and that's just me personally. But we definitely had a lot more Brant than previous years. You always get your big groups, but I mean, it seemed like this year they were constantly there, and then they just kept coming down.
Hmm.
And another thing I noticed too, in previous years, we really haven't shot a lot of juveniles. And this past year, I mean, that's pretty much all we were shooting, which tells me that we've had a
Not
couple
mine.
good, well, yeah, that's true. Uh, we've had a couple good breeding seasons with them, and I hopefully that happens again this year. So fingers
Hmm.
crossed that that helps with the population.
um, I mean, do you think there's something we as hunters and outdoorsmen can do to see the population increase and maybe see one day the next half decade another two bird 45-day season?
Um, I
Don't
mean,
be
it's such
greedy.
a well, yeah. I mean, I've heard stories of guys shooting more than one brant per day, taking them up to the truck, and then coming out and shooting more brant. Don't do
Hmm.
that. Please don't do that. Um, but I mean, I guess donate to Ducks Unlimited and help them out so more habitat can. Yeah,
Whoa!
yeah, 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 yeah. I know.
That's a
Whoa!
crazy one hearing from you.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I'm just saying. Hopefully, the money
He's got
does
the
go to
duffel
stuff
bag
like
to
that.
prove it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Um, I know the eelgrass is disappearing. I mean, it's been disappearing for a while. I wish they'd stop building houses on the marshes and everybody coming down on their pontoon boat and destroying the habitat. But
Do
I
you
can't
think
really
that's
control that.
Do you think that's why we're seeing larger groups because more birds are concentrating on the limited resource, on a limited food resource?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, you got to think about it. The more houses they build, the more people want docks, and they're driving pylons out there, and that is messing with the ecosystem. Yeah, it benefits other things, but when you got all that equipment out there, I think it's destroying it. And then a lot of the times that's in the summertime when all this stuff is growing,
Yeah.
and come wintertime, there's not much. I mean, I know they eat a lot of sea cabbage and stuff like that, but even boat traffic too. I mean, you keep chopping down a plant X amount of times, it's just not going to really grow to its full potential.
Say that to
And
my grass.
well,
All
but
right,
it's the
old
same.
man.
It's the same thing in the water too, man. All that
Yeah.
boat traffic too, just by itself, is destroying that stuff too. And I mean, there's nothing I can do about that. What am I going to tell people stop going on the water? I can't control that. I wish I could. Trust me, if I had it my way, nobody else besides hunters would be on the water. But there's nothing I can do there. Only
I
thing,
mean,
like seriously, only thing I can think of is just donate to Ducks Unlimited or somebody that is helping grow the habitat and doing research and whatever it may be. And stop
Hmm.
shooting more than one brand a day if the brand limit's only one.
so
Can't
I have
stand
to,
stories like that.
I have to say, I did notice that when we were down there fishing with you last summer, that like where we were fishing, it was just sand bottom. There was nothing.
Yep. Yep.
Maybe some roots here and there, but nothing. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
fishing around
That's
us.
from the traffic, or that's from the dredging they do out there, or
Both.
from the beach erosion coming
Wow,
in on
dredging.
in
I mean, we
it.
have all that. We have all that going on all at once. So you got
Hmm.
all that going on at once. What do you think it's doing to the bottom?
Yeah.
Fair
I
enough.
mean, you
Because.
saw where we beached up that one day. How many boats were there?
Yeah.
I think
Hmm.
about that every single day of the summer. From May to September, that
Yeah.
Yeah.
happening.
Did
That
they do the same thing they did in Ocean City for us, where they pumped a bunch of sand back up on the beach,
they do
and
that
then
every single year.
did it all erode away again, like it did in Atlantic City and Ocean City and all that?
What do you
Like,
think's going to happen when you build a city on practically an island that's a half mile wide that gets smacked
yeah.
by storms and nor'easters and hurricanes all the time?
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's going to freaking fall off the face of the earth. So,
I
Well,
mean,
it's
only way
washing
to
up in.
prevent.
I think that was the point I was going with. I think it's washing. That's probably what's also helping kill the eelgrass. Is it's probably all washing up in there.
I mean, I'll send you pictures too. But up at the Indian River Inlet, where that bridge is,
Hmm.
on the right side, on the ocean side, that those dunes blow out all the time, and it completely floods that road right there to where they had to close the whole bridge down. And when that's constantly happening every single year, you got to think what that's doing to the rest of the bay.
They might as
I
Yeah.
well
mean
just build a
that's
bigger
everywhere
bridge.
on the coast. That's everywhere on the coast. You can't get away from it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
I
they're
mean,
pumping in sand too, left and right all the time.
look at New Orleans or look at Louisiana. What do they
Hmm.
lose? What do they say they lose? A football field size of marshland every year,
Hmm.
Yeah.
just from the storms, the tides, everything like that. The
Well,
loose soil.
Louisiana's like 8 feet under sea level, ain't it? Or not Louisiana, New Orleans.
That's Louisiana.
I know, but specifically New Orleans is
NOLA,
Nolan.
New Orleans.
Nolan.
Well, I
Down
mean, I'm
half.
sure I'm sure you guys have noticed too around you, but if you live around the marsh long enough, you will start see islands disappear slowly and slowly over time. I remember like growing up as a kid, a lot of those islands are completely gone. And that happens just from simple erosion in the water and storms, but that also happens. I can't tell you how many times I've seen pontoon boats run up on that island, take a chunk of that marsh out. And
Hmm.
you do that a couple hundred times every summer, it's just gonna fade away.
So around here, at least from what I've noticed going through, is yeah, a lot of these islands change, but I don't think they actually lose the islands. I think some of the ditches
Or
fill
sand.
in,
Yeah.
and then some of the ditches expand. So like it's a new. I guarantee this year there's going to be something new. I noticed, like, oh, you can't go through here anymore, but this is really open now. You know what I mean? I think the marsh does change a lot, but we also don't have the pontoon
Oh,
traffic you do.
listen. So I started reading,
Ew.
and I'm reading a book now. It's kind of like a documentary style book, um, all based on some alligator farm operation that Florida Fish and Wildlife did back in, I couldn't tell you what year now, but that they she goes into a story about an old alligator poacher, and she sits down with his family, and he kind of gives like the backstory of the Everglades, and he said when everybody started moving in, you could watch the mangrove trees migrate. He said, back in the 80s and 70s, where there was thousands of mangrove trees and all that stuff like that, they've moved since, which is wild to hear. And I got to look deeper into that, but it's like,
Moving trees.
well, if they can't be sustained in one place, they
Yeah,
may
they
die
go
off.
somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
we
I
don't we
mean,
don't we don't have that here.
no, we don't have mangrove trees here. we
Start
got
planting
snake.
mangrove trees.
We got snakeheads. They move.
Yeah,
They do.
that is true. Yeah,
So,
but
oh, go
back
ahead.
to
Go ahead.
that happening. I mean, it's not just even where there's houses, I mean, even on public land where there's no houses at all. Great example is Prime Hook. And if you go on Google Earth, you can go back in time over the years, like different satellite pictures. And that whole marsh used to be freshwater and a little bit of brackish. And then we had a nor'easter and the dikes blew out. And that's all saltwater marsh. All the trees that were in there in the marsh, like completely died, and they said it's had a really really big effect with holding ducks both in the winter and come springtime when they're breeding because there's just no habitat for them to be in.
Hmm.
So I mean stuff like that too is affecting the population, I think.
Oh yeah, that's got to affect. I mean, it's got to affect nesting ground with the tides and everything. It's got to affect food with, even I know some ducks eat fish and stuff like that. Where a freshwater pond is contained with resources, and now you replace that with a tidal, little more harsher environment. It's gonna deplete the resource.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Ryan, I figured out what you look like.
Bob the Builder.
Chucky.
Oh god.
It's the red
But like
shirt.
not as harmful.
Yeah.
I could be.
So I asked you before we started. Did you think of anything? Because I normally we we don't really blaze through topics like this. I mean, we sound like shitty hosts right now, but
I don't know. I thought with Riley we'd just be bullshitting, honestly. Like a
We can
normal
bullshit if you want.
conversation. Yeah, you wanna do some bullshitting? You ready for this recession?
Yeah, I've been a little worried about that.
Mm-hmm.
A little
why?
bit. I don't know.
Better buy that silver.
I'm not doing that.
Come on, buy silver.
I don't know. I think being a young dad has me worried about more things than when I was 18. Because I'm not just thinking about myself anymore. So
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
want what's
I
best
could.
for my child. But
Why are
hopefully
you looking at me like
everything goes
that?
good.
I have a good question, I think, for the two of you. It's totally off topic.
All
What
right,
are
let's
the
hear it.
worst conditions? Like if it was just you and you were only on your own, what's the absolute lowest of low conditions you could still live like and tolerate?
Well,
Could you pull a cardboard box on the side of the road?
no, I would
No,
have to have refrigeration for beer.
No, you'd have to have refrigeration for
but
beer.
Yeah,
but I do have a bed cap on my truck, and I have slept in my truck a lot, especially this past season. So I think I can make that work.
Hmm.
But being like homeless on the streets, I don't think so.
It's a little too low.
I was
What
even
about you?
thinking like back in October when we were selling the house, I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm going up to Alaska. I was gonna move my family up there, but Amanda talked me out of it. So probably a good thing. Probably a good thing.
that's
Hmm.
too far from Disney,
I
huh?
think it might be too cold for the bed cap.
You'd have to go get one of them real IDs.
Hmm. You
Yeah.
have to have them in Alaska?
You got to have them to travel.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess I have to do that then. Huh.
Yep. I think, especially if you're getting on a plane, you have to have them.
I'll just drive.
Oh, speaking of Alaska, possibly this
Pacific
next
Brent?
season, I might be trading a
Ooh.
hunt with a guy because he wants to get an Atlantic brand and I want to get a black brand. So that might be something that happens this coming
Something in the works,
season.
That
huh?
would be
Yeah.
crazy. Where's he
But
from? He's from Alaska?
yeah, he's from Alaska.
No, Ronnie's from
Um,
Texas.
Mm.
here's my only stipulation with that, especially now after flying for I don't even know how long it's been, 10, 15 years. I absolutely hate flying. I can't stand it. I'm terrified. The entire time on that plane, I was white knuckling the seat. Um, and that's a long flight over there. It's also a long car drive. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen if I do decide to do that trip.
You know, it's safer to fly than safer to fly than to drive, right?
Not if it's a Boeing.
All right. Well, hear me out. I also got a theory on
They
that.
get lost.
If I get into a car accident, I have a good chance of surviving. I have a good chance of getting help very quickly. Um, and I'm in control of the vehicle. If I fall out of the sky in a plane at 30,000 feet, I'm gonna die.
Tuck
There's
and roll,
nothing I can do to
dude.
stop
Tuck
it.
in,
Disperse the energy. Tuck and
bend your
roll.
knees.
Yeah.
I
If you
I hate
jump,
flying.
if you jump at the last second, you'll probably be all right.
No, I have thought about that for the
Okay.
longest
What are your
time.
thoughts on that?
If you're standing on a box falling from 30,000 feet in the air
Mm-hmm.
and you step off at the last second, you realize you're going the same speed as that box.
Not if you jump.
Yes, if you jump,
You'd be going slightly less. That might be the make or break difference.
they're at
Instead of hey,
30,000 feet. There is no
it's,
make. There's just break.
instead of crashing at 300 miles per hour, you're crashing at 295 miles per hour.
There's probably a higher survival rate at
I,
295 miles an hour than there's at 300 miles an hour.
I don't know about all that, Ryan.
And Riley says there's also a better chance of survival at 80 mile an hour.
That's true.
But here's the other thing. There's no Nissan Altima planes when you're up there. So, like, they're not going to be cutting you off in traffic.
I guess that's profiling.
They're not going to be
Also,
doing all that stuff. So you have a more I feel like the road is more dangerous than a plane because there's not
yeah, I mean, you got more people, but like I said,
the Boeing Ultima 737.
You ever heard of a Boeing cutting off another Boeing? Well, yeah, I guess so.
no, but I've heard of a Black Hawk cutting off a Boeing.
Yeah, that's true. But that happened
And
in
it
DC.
didn't help that I flew out of DC a month ago, a month after all that happened.
Okay, I can understand the white knuckling.
Just
And
go to Baltimore.
I wanted to. If I can recommend to anybody that lives in the Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, wherever area close to DC, don't fly out of DC because they don't tell you that runway is really short. So when you're taking off, it's not just like a gradual take. You're taking off like vertically. And when that G-force hit me, I was like,
Did your
And
cheeks fly backwards a little bit? You go.
I don't know, but I was trying not to throw up because I get really bad motion sickness, and that that
Dramamine.
that messed me up. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. The only thing that helps me is drinking a
Trazodone.
beer. Trazodone.
Yeah,
You
just
could
fall
take a
asleep.
trazodone, yeah, and just
I
pass
mean,
out.
yeah. I guess I won't know what's going on if the plane crashes if I'm asleep,
That's true.
knocked
You won't
out.
feel anything. Yeah, you're fine. All right.
I guess you could really only do that on like a 6 to 10 hour flight.
You didn't answer my question though.
What about the sleeping arrangements?
Yeah, what's the lowest of the low you think you'd be able to tolerate if it was just you?
If it was just me, we talking just me or me and the dog?
Just you.
Just me. Uh, I would say somebody's shed.
Think you could handle somebody's shed?
I could definitely live in somebody's shed.
No heat?
No, I'm fine with no heat. It's the air conditioning that would kill me. That would break me.
Mm-hmm.
Not having air conditioning in the summertime. That's what would break me. If I could have one little space with two plugs, one for a fan and one for a beer cooler, I'm fine.
It's
And-
respectable.
And Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Oh, hell yeah. We catch stripers and we drink Pepsi.
No, we don't. We drink beer.
Our beer's even got a fish in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to each their own, Brian. Pepsi wouldn't be my first choice of drink.
Yeah,
What's your
I
first
know.
choice?
Dr. Pepper.
Oh man,
Oh, I have some tea on the whole Dr. Pepper thing.
but it's soda.
I know. So, one of my buddies worked in one of the soda plants, and after they make a batch of Dr. Pepper, they have to spray out the entire thing because it's so corrosive, and the flavor's so strong that everything they put in after it would just taste like Dr. Pepper.
Why don't they just keep making Dr. Pepper?
I don't know. I don't make the rules here. There you go.
Yeah.
There's your fun fact of the day.
Thank
And
you, Ryan. I
Brant-
don't think I'll ever drink another Dr. Pepper again.
And Brant don't live in Dr. Pepper. There you go. That's how I tied it into hunting.
I guess, but
Oh, man.
He's getting frustrated.
No, I respect the fact that you're doing this because I've run out of things to talk about.
Really?
No.
I
well,
can keep bullshitting if
No.
you
I
want.
do know
We
something
can
that
come
I-
up with more.
I know something I really want to do again next year is I want to come back up to Jersey and hunt Brant at least 2 more times. Because
2 more times, huh?
I don't
Same
know,
spot?
like I
No.
said to you guys while we were hunting, if Jersey was in Jersey, I would probably move up there.
Oh my god.
But I can't live in Jersey.
So you know what's funny about that? Not the whole Jersey thing. You know the only time we shot Brant at that spot was with you?
Really?
Don't tell him that.
Yeah. So I had scouted it the second and third time we went.
Mm-hmm.
Second time we went, we had him decoy, and at like 60 yards, some guys on the right side of the sky blast him. Like there was three of us shooting, there was three Brant coming in. It was going to be deadly perfect, and yeah, they sky blasted him at like 100 yards.
Cheers to those guys. Doing
And
God's
then
work.
the third time we hit that spot, I didn't have a single thing decoy, not a single bird decoy.
Well, don't worry, I'll come up there and we'll make it happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Not in that spot. We're taking a boat out next time.
Yeah. Oh, I got something that I want to talk about.
All right, let's get it.
I've met a lot of people, especially this past season, and I get it. I understand. They're really scared to take their boat out in rough conditions. So I'm going to say this to people. I will always take my boat out in rough conditions as long as I feel comfortable and safe. It's going to be a rough ride, but I have put myself in situations over the years, whether it's in the wintertime or summertime with my other boat, where I made myself learn how to handle myself in those conditions. Just like when I got my driver's license, I made it a point to go drive out in the rain, go drive out in the snow, so I knew how to handle those conditions, because there's been a lot of times where that weather will just kick in out of nowhere, and you're out in the middle of the bay. Next thing you know, you got 2 foot, 3 foot swells, and the wind's blowing 30 mile per hour. You got to be ready to handle that stuff. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people that the wind was blowing 20 miles per hour. They're like, no, it's too windy. Like, I don't feel comfortable taking out my boat. I'm like, it's not that bad. And Nathaniel actually did that one time this year, in a 12-foot John boat with like 2-foot swells in the bay. He didn't want to take it out. I was like, listen, you need to follow this path and then ride the shoreline. He was like, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I was like, trust me. I've done this before. You need to listen to me. Just ride the shoreline, but we need to cross the bay first. Well, he listened to me. He did exactly what I said, and we were perfectly fine. We didn't have any water come over the side. You just got to learn how to handle yourself. And I think the best time for someone to learn how to do that is in the summertime, because if you do get
Oh,
soaking
yeah.
wet,
Yeah.
you're not freezing cold and you don't put yourself in a dangerous situation. Now, I'm not saying bow stuff your boat and capsize it, but go out there.
But even
start
then,
slow
that's better in the summertime to capsize
yeah.
your boat than in the winter.
There was
that's
already
another
a
piece
guy
of
that
advice
capsized.
that I can give to somebody if they're even potentially thinking about getting their captain's license. You got to learn how to handle yourself in those conditions. In any case, you got to be ready for the unexpected.
Yeah.
I agree. And to your point, that is the reason why we didn't take a boat out last time.
Mm-hmm.
Is because I know my limitations. And furthermore, my limitations exceed my boat's limitations. Mm-hmm. I could have handled that very well. My boat would not have handled that very well. Yeah. So to tack on to what you're saying is, yes, learn what you can handle and what you can control and how and what you can do to remedy a bad situation, but do not do it in a boat you don't feel comfortable in.
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
it in something that it has to be able to withstand said conditions. Don't, if you're looking at a radar, and it shows 10-mile-an-hour winds, and you've taken your boat out in 12 to 15-mile-an-hour winds, it says 10-mile-an-hour winds, till 10 o'clock, and then it ups to 22 to 25-mile-an-hour winds. Do not wait till 10:30 to bring your boat in. Yeah. Be smart about what you're doing, especially in the water, especially in hunting season. There's a reason why New Jersey now has a law that from November 1st to May 1st, you have to wear a life vest while under motor power.
I'm going to say something about that. And if you don't know, if anybody hasn't seen that post on Instagram, and I don't want to talk about it too much, but wasn't my fault. I need to state that very clearly. I did have to get rescued by the Coast Guard because of somebody else's actions that didn't listen to me. I'll leave it at that. If you were to fall overboard or get stuck in the water and it's as cold as it was this past year, especially if you're by yourself, the only thing that life jacket is good for is finding your body. That's my opinion.
I agree and disagree. I think if you're wearing the correct life jacket, if you're wearing an over the shoulder one, if you're wearing an inflatable, I think it does buy you a hair of time. Say you are riding the shoreline, you fall off 20 yards off the shoreline, in rougher conditions. Unless you're wearing waders, if you're wearing waders, which we all do, nothing against it, but
you're not supposed to wear waders.
No,
I thought about that. It would take me way too long.
Everybody does it.
Yeah, I know everybody does it. I still do it, but I really thought about it the last time we went out. It would take way too long to get all those straps undone and get out of them before you sunk like a rock.
You're not getting out of them. By the time you're thinking about that, the suction's already got your boot caught in place. But yeah, just basically tacking on to what Riley said. Just know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Don't take the waves head on.
Well, you're supposed to do that if your boat can handle it.
Judge your pucker. If your pucker is at 100%, you're probably not in a good situation.
We were just in crane rigging class, and me and Dad have our crane licenses, and so we had been through the course and all that. We were just getting our rigging certification, and the instructor was the same instructor who was our crane refresher guy, and he's talking about like when what do you watch and what do you look for when running a crane. He was talking to me and Dad goes, the sphincter factor. And Dad goes, what are you talking about? He goes, when your sphincter goes from this to this, it's probably time to stop lifting.
Yeah. Can I make a little off topic, but
we love off topic.
I think Ryan will support me very much on this topic.
Because Ryan's a simp.
Huh?
Well, I think he had a very good point, and you kind of got on him about it, so I'm going to back him up on this. So I bought Sitka waders this past year. Hands down, the best waders I've ever had.
No, hold on. I'm cutting you off.
I want to hear what he has to say. Shut up.
Go ahead, but I have my rebuttal.
If I could, and if I
If you
were
could.
allowed to buy yet a second pair, I think you had a damn good idea with buying 2 pair.
I think you're the only one that agrees.
Let's fucking go. That's
After
2.
having them, and
Who's the first?
Me.
That doesn't count.
The fuck you mean that doesn't matter? That's 2 sentient beings that agree with each other.
Easy on sentient over there.
I'm sentient currently.
I'll say why. I've had waders that have lasted me a season. I've had waders last me 2 weeks. And after going through 2 pairs last year and then another pair at the beginning of this season, I threw my hands up and I said, I'm done. I'm spending the extra money on them. And now after having them, if they were to get a hole in them, I wouldn't want to wear another pair of waders ever. They fit me perfect. Their size guide is perfect. I mean, everything about them is just, I have 0 complaints whatsoever.
All
So
right.
you're gonna get a second pair.
Here's
That's what you're saying. Come on, you got to say yes. now.
no. Here's my rebuttal to that. All right.
You just get a pair of frog togs.
No.
You know, last year a couple weeks
No.
till they get
You
fixed.
are in a different position than he is because you are responsible with what you do, and not so much over here.
I'm the most responsible person you
Okay,
know.
do you
Ryan's-
after
Ryan's been talking about buying sicko waders for the last year and a half, and he probably won't do it for another 2 years.
That's called responsibility.
Okay, if you're gonna talk about it, you gotta walk about it. You know, you gotta.
Thank you.
You gotta. If you're gonna say you want to buy 2 pair, at least buy the first pair.
He probably will wait until opening day this year to buy waders. And he's going to go buy a pair of $90 tie-away neoprenes and then bitch about them all year long. Or he's going to ask for my old pair.
Dude, the nice thing about it is they have the payment plan, so you can pay over time.
Don't tell him that. He will put himself in crippling debt.
I'm
for 8
already in
months.
crippling debt. Do they take
they were-
kidneys?
They really are the best pair of waders I've ever had. I have 0 complaints about them.
What do you
I
do
used
about
to-
insulation, though? Did you buy the wader pants, too?
Well, I've had neoprene waders. I don't like them. They're just too heavy, especially when they get wet. They're just way too heavy. So
I mean,
always
you're
got the-
sickos.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna get there. Don't worry, Ryan.
Oh.
Okay, easy.
Okay.
Jesus.
And then I've had uninsulated waders, and the nice thing is, like, in October when it's still hot, you don't have to wear a lot of layers. You don't have to deal with the thickness of the neoprene, sweating your ass off.
Mhm.
And I've always been fine with adding more layers. I'm not a big guy, so adding more layers hasn't been a problem for someone like me. So having
What are you
uninsulated
trying to
waders,
say?
it didn't bother me. Oh, I'm not saying anything. I think you're saying something.
And I mean, they do have a layer of insulation. You're not going out there with,
What grain are they?
I think they're what, 19 millimeter?
Or millimeter, sorry.
I forget.
can
I
tell
looked
you.
into it before. I know, like, if you're somebody like me, you could still definitely go hunt with a pair of long johns and a pair of sweatpants and a thick pair of socks. Like,
Yeah.
if you're somebody that doesn't get cold very easily, you're fine with, just an extra underlayer from what you normally would wear.
Also, I've been fucking up
He
all
gets
year.
really cold.
Yeah, I know.
I realized the error of my ways towards the end of the season. I got to stop wearing 4 or 5 pairs of socks because it's cutting off
Dude,
the circulation.
get
That's on my
wool
feet.
socks. What are you doing?
Yeah.
No, I do, but then I'll put on like 4 pairs of them, and then I'm like,
Ryan is either
pairs.
there's 2 things to Ryan, and it's either one or the other.
excellence.
He is either the most over-prepared person you've ever met in your life, or the most underprepared person you've ever met in your life. The last time we went coastal hunting, not the last time he went coastal hunting, he showed up an hour late, and this is like 15-degree weather, blowing winds, putting it down into the single digits, in jeans and 1 hoodie. And then when it's 40 degrees, he shows up with 5 pairs of socks, shorts, sweatpants, long johns, 3 hoodies, waders, an over jacket, a wader jacket, and everything else. And then complains when he's too hot.
Yeah, Ryan, you might want to reevaluate your tactics here.
I'm done wearing 4 pairs of socks. That was what I was trying to go with that before you had to come after my whole life. There's a reason I showed up in jeans. I didn't go home.
You came past your home.
I came from Delaware all the way to Atlantic City after the Christmas party.
Yeah, and you come over the bridge. It's like 10 minutes from your
No, I
house.
came over the bridge that was in Philly, I think.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
don't know. That was a hard ride.
in your grandmom's car.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Like
got.
I said, there's no compromising over here.
Mm-hmm.
You just learn to live with it.
No doubt, no doubt. I got a funny story from this past season. Um, there was this old timer that I met at the boat ramp. We were coming in from a hunt. He seen that we killed Brant. He's like, sometimes if they're banded, they'll be dangling a leg down. I'm like, no, there's no way. I've been hunting these things for how long now? I've never seen that once. And I think it was a week later, we're out hunting. We limited out. It's like 10 o'clock, something like that. And this single Brant, comes flying right over us. We're limited out, by the way. Comes flying over us. Sure as shit, he's dangling that leg down and he's banded. I go, are you fucking kidding me?
That old guy probably saw that exact same Brant and went, I'm going to tell somebody about that.
Maybe so, but he was right because it was dangling its one leg down and it was banded.
Was it a stainless band or was it a?
It was shiny. That's all I know.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Oh.
And I've
All
also
right,
had
well.
some.
Oh,
I've also
sorry.
had some people this after the season ended that want to hunt next year. This one guy said, "Would you care if we just stayed out there all day until I shot a banded Brant?" And I was like, "As long as you're okay going home empty-handed." Like he wants them to land and then look for the band.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know a lot of guys that go nuts over that stuff. So
Oh, it's
Did you see any colored bands this year?
tarsal
he
bands.
was the only person that shot a band this past year. Out of everybody that I took out, he was the only one.
Good job, little guy.
So congratulations, Brian.
Yeah, girl.
And
Get it, girl.
I told you this, but we both. That was your first banded Brant, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I shot my first banded Brant, exact same spot.
Yeah.
You
I
shot
remember
yours.
us talking about that. Yeah.
So that was
Really cool. I have it hanging up on the. You can't see it, but I think it's Atlantic Brant hatched in. Hold on. Don't have my good context. It was banded July 27th of 2024. That's why the band was so shiny.
Oh, nice.
In
So it was fresh, huh?
yeah. It was banded in Nunavut, Canada.
He
So
shot
that bird
baby.
came a long way.
Just to see your redneck ass.
That's what I explained. I said that bird flew a long way to get shot by a hillbilly in the reeds.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
so we're gonna cut it off here. Riley, we're gonna have you stick around for about 5 minutes if you'd like to join us for a Patreon clip.
Can
if
I
you guys
make an announcement real quick?
go ahead, jump
So-
me, but yeah, sure.
I'm sorry. I had to get this out because it is important, and it's important to you too.
You're good. You're good.
If anybody remembers from a while back, and I didn't forget about it, I'm working on the Dying Breed series, and Brian's episode should be out end of this week, give or take. So this announcement to make.
So since you jumped me, go ahead and tell them how to find you and what you've been, if there's any projects you've been working on.
There's some contempt in your voice right now.
Sorry. Yeah. We're on Instagram. I post a little bit to YouTube. I'm done with TikTok. Not doing that anymore. So I've been flagged too many times. They've taken too many of my posts down. I'm done. It's not worth it. But mainly Instagram. If you need to shoot me a message, go ahead and shoot me a message. Link tree's on there. If you need to find any of the other links, it's all on there. So, but yeah, mainly Instagram.
His Instagram will be linked in the bio of this podcast. I don't know about the video one. I don't know. I haven't really gotten into all the YouTube stuff yet, but definitely if you're on Spotify, iTunes, if you're listening, you'll be able to find the link for his Instagram. If not, we tag him in a lot of stuff. Just you'll be able to find him pretty easily. Real quick, since we haven't really put together an intro for this podcast, thank you to Papa Earls and Top Down Decoys for sponsoring the podcast. Check them out, papaearls.com, topdowndecoys.com. Use code MarshBoys at checkout to get, 15% off your order?
I think it's 5% for top down.
5% off your order. It basically comes out to free shipping if you buy a dozen decoys. Thank you guys. Thank you, Riley. It's always great talking to you. And once again, if you haven't, check out the Patreon. We will be continuing this conversation over there. Thanks, Riley.
Yep.